Okay, this is where, inshallah, the course becomes really, really interesting, where we actually look at these manuscripts. Salat al-Maghrib is now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to open the next one, leave it big, so everyone looks at it and has a chance to think about it while the rest of us pray, inshallah. We should come back in 15 minutes. So that makes us come back at what o'clock? 9:05, inshallah, and 9:05, not 9:50, that would be way too late. 9:05, inshallah, I will come back and we'll try to decipher these ayahs, inshallah, and try to relate them to what we're studying. Jazakumullahu khairan. Wassalamu alaikum rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen. Wassalatu wassalam ala nabiyyina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'een. So those of you who did not have Maghrib or any kind of Salah in your area, I'm hoping that you looked at this manuscript of the Qur'an al-Azim in front of us, and you hopefully noticed several things. So we have Nurab here with your hand up, so I'm excited to hear your what you have to share. Go ahead, please. Tafaddalu.
Okay, oops, where is the unmute? Just move it a little bit to the left. Where? It's over here, but it's hidden. It's hidden? Thank you for
Are you with us, sister Nurab, or brother? I'm sorry, I apologize.
Yeah, it's sister, but it's okay.
Yes, yes, go ahead.
Oh, sorry, I'm unmuted. Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.
Alrighty. So what I noticed, I think it's the end of Surah Tariq.
Very good. How did you figure that out? Excellent.
إِنَّهُ لَهُ لَقَوْلٌ فَصْلٌ is what?
Yeah, where is that? So إِنَّهُ لَقَوْلٌ فَصْلٌ. Very good. So you recognize this phrase right here.
Yes.
Excellent. Okay.
Check this one.
Right. So now that you know this phrase is, or this ayah is unique. There's no other surah that has the combination of words إِنَّهُ لَقَوْلٌ فَصْلٌ, and most of us have memorized Surah Al-Tariq, so then you can kind of fill in the blanks. وَمَا هُوَ بِالْهَزْلِ إِنَّهُمْ يَكِيدُونَ. Notice the noon, that same shape. كَيْدًا وَأَكِيدُ كَيْدًا فَمَهِّلْ الْكَافِرِينَ. That noon again. أَمْهِلْهُمْ
Not clear.
رُوَيْدًا. Yeah, okay. So
cut the word in half. That's what's surprising.
yes, notice how this is now very similar to the manuscript that we looked at the beginning of the class. That was the closest manuscript I could find, just grabbing off the internet, of how the Othman manuscript would look void of any dots or markings. And it was, most of the words were actually split across lines. So here we see that again in this situation. We have, for example, wa ma, and in today's Arabic, that would be considered a mistake. The waw is considered part of the next word. It's just not physically attached because the waw does not attach to the next word. But we're not allowed to split it across lines in today's modern spelling system. And then we know, and here, wa akidu, that's split again. And then we have ruwaida, that's a major split. Like the ra is like part of the root of this word, and now it's split across the line. But that's how a lot of the manuscripts were. It was acceptable in the Arabic language. The letters and tombstones and other findings pre-Quranic or along the same era, this is the system they use. That's how we know that it's not unique to the Quran. It's just how they used to preserve space. You know, you have famahilhum, and then you have space. It's not enough for the whole word, but it's enough for one letter, so they would use one letter. That was acceptable back then. So that's the skeletal, okay? So we read now, we look at the black words, the black lines, the Rasim Uthmani. Now let's examine the red dots. Sister Nurab, thank you so much for participating. We have Brother Wadir. What do you notice about the red dots? Like what catches your eye in the basically the Abu al-Aswad al-Du'ali system of tashkil?
It's the same.
It's the same as the previous manuscript. So we have innahu, so we have the alif or the hamza with the dot under it, the noon with the dot on top of it. Faslun, we have the tanween dhamma, post the letter after the letter. مثلا we have ruwaydan. We noticed previously that the alifs would have, although it's fatha, but the dots would be kind of before it for the alif and lam to some degree. What else? We noticed in the other manuscript, the wows, meaning and, had no fathas on them. And here we see it also. Here we have wa, no, nothing on it. And then innahum yakiduna, this waw is not that type of waw, this is part of the word. But here we have wa akidu, this waw also, there's no da on it. And then what else? What other wows? There are no other wows, but the wows that mean and have no dots on them. So that's interesting. Okay, so that's the dotting system. That's Abu al-Aswad al-Du'ali system. Now to go kind of beyond the material of the class, but just looking at this manuscript, what else do we see?
The bottom.
Ah, okay. So
Nine.
yeah, this beautiful separation between surahs. A large circle here or a flower, and then this golden rectangle with some writing in it. Can you read the writing?
Yeah, no.
What would you, okay, let's imagine. You know how we figure out what surah it is? We're hunting for a word and matching it. What would you think might be in a rectangle that's separating two surahs?
The name of the surah?
It could be the name of the surah. It's not going to be the basmala probably, because the basmala would be written in black, because that's part of the rasm al-Uthmani. So the basmala is a good guess, but it needed to be black. The black is like universally agreed on that the rasm al-Uthmani itself must be black. It's kind of like, I don't know, a system they all agreed on. They even called it al-Aswad. Not because Abu al-Aswad al-Du'ali, they just because of the color of the hibr. So it's not the basmala, but let's see, what's the surah after al-Tariq?
Al-A'la.
Oh, okay. Can you find the word al-A'la here?
Yeah, no, I do not find it.
So here's the al, and here you have the a of al-A'la. Like I can imagine seeing it. Do you see the ayn here? And then the lam, and then this is kind of going back.
Oh, I'm an old person, but yes, I can see it now.
Yes, so this here, right here is al-A'la. Okay, so what's here?
Madaniya Makkiyah?
That's a good guess, but they used to, at the beginning, write how many ayahs there were. So I can sort of see 29 or something like that. Or 19, 19 ayah. So let's open our Mushaf and see how many ayahs there are in Surah Al-A'la. If someone has a Mushaf beside them, Surah Al-A'la, I have in my Mushaf, it's 19, and it's Al-Adb al-Kufi. And I'm going to open a Mushaf for Qalun. And I do happen to have a printed Mushaf for Qalun. And I'm going to check what numbering. So again, because this is something we kind of casually mentioned before, in the different countings that they learn directly from the Prophet ﷺ, just like they would learn a surah, they would learn to count the ayahs. So, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Where am I hunting? I'm trying to find the page number 592. It's also 19 in the Madani counting. It's possible that all the Masahif agree on that. If the Madani and Kufi are the same counting, it's just a guess that it's highly probable that it's counted as 19 ayahs regardless. So that doesn't help us decipher where this was written. It doesn't help us. But if it was basically a counting that said here 19, it says 19 ayah, now you can decipher that. And we know that the counting in Medina was 19, but in Kufa, let's say, for example, was 18, then we would probably say, oh, it looks like this Mushaf might have been scribed in Medina. It helps us place the location. But right now, this does not, because it seems like, to my knowledge, that the counts of the ayahs agree. I'm going to open my Mushaf Qira'at that contains also information about the ayah counting, and just double check so that we are fully informed of any differences. Okay. كيد لا يعد المند الأول. Okay. وأكيد كيد. Okay. So that I'm just looking up information for right now. ما ليس برأسي آية. Okay. So the counting of Surah Al-A'la is agreed upon throughout the different systems of counting, which is related to qira'at and related to the reciters sent with each mushaf. The reciter, the oral, okay? In the Musahaf al-Uthmaniyya, there were no markings for ayahs, but the reciters would maintain the counting that they would learn from their master teachers, which they learned from the Prophet ﷺ. So that's where we have the counting in Kufa, the counting in Basra, the counting in Levant, the counting of Mecca. It's related to where the Musahif were sent because it's related to those Qari's who were sent with the Musahif. Okay, so all the qira'at, all the recitals count the Surah Al-A'la as 19, so that doesn't help us place the manuscript. But the fact that there is this beautiful intricate marking, it places it at least 100 to 150 after Hijrah, because before that, there was just an empty space. They wouldn't have this beautiful design. But then again, look how the design seems to interfere with the last line. Notice how the word Ruwaida, it's not clear. Brother Wadia, looking at the word Ruwaida, especially the Waida part, which is the last line of Surah Al-Tariq here, would you guess that the word was written and then the design was designed afterwards, or the design was written and then the word, or it was designed that way so that the design kind of touches the word and meshes with it?
I was thinking the letters first, the skeletal letters, and then the...
Does it look like the designs were inserted afterwards? Like it wasn't pre-planned, it was added later, and this was the space offered? It does, right? Notice how the rectangle stops at the letters and kind of like there's a difficulty in introducing it. This possibly or highly likely means that this beautiful design was added years, maybe decades, after the original script was written. So there was no planning while the script was written to have this intricate design. It was added later because there's an interference between the last line and the design. And a professional scribe wouldn't do that. If they're planning a design, they would make the design so it's lower down and has enough space. So that's highly possible. So it happened over time that the same script would then have added dots later by a different scribe, and then designs added to that script later. So the original black rasm would be scribed at one point in time, and then dots would be added to that same script later by a different person. And as time went on, an artist would come and add the name of the surah, for example, different timelines, because they just reproducing a mushaf using hides is just so expensive and so time consuming. So just writing and adding over current musahif was the easier and better way to go. Okay, do you notice the ru'us al-ay, the headings of the ayat? Do you see any of them?
I
see these little flowers? Flower.
Oh, beautiful.
Flower. Flower. Blob. Right? What is that? It's big. And then a flower. What number ayah is the big thing? That's not a small flower.
What's the ayah? What's the word?
يكيدون كيدا. In the Add al-Kufi, I have its number 15.
Yes.
Okay, and then here, this is ayn, by the way. It means it's a sada. So this is ayah 12, 13, 14. إنهم يكيدون كيد. Where is it? Where am I? Just a second. إنه لقول فصل. That's ayah 13. وَمَا هُوَ بِالْهَزْلِ. That's 14. إِنَّهُمْ يَكِيدُونَ كَيْدًا وَأَكِيدُ كَيْدًا. Notice there's no ayah here. We have إِنَّهُمْ يَكِيدُونَ كَيْدًا. This is 15. They put this, the big blob, the big ayah symbol, Ras ayah, the ayah count symbols would be used for every 5. 5, 5, 5, and then you would have every 10 would be different than every 50. And the 10 would be bigger than the 5s, and the 5s would be bigger than the 1s, and the 50 would sometimes be huge. Sometimes it would be so huge it would go off the page.
Oh.
I just want to point out that this is not considered a Ras ayah. إِنَّهُمْ يَكِيدُونَ كَيْدًا. For us in the Add al-Kufi, it's considered an ayah, but there's no little star here. And contrary, the big symbol for 15 is where we would consider it 16. Now we have a clue, because guess what? The only ad that counts it, wait a minute, I'm looking away. The only ad that counts this as not an ayah is the Madani count. Dun, dun, dun. Now we're pretty sure that this was actually ascribed in Medina. Because it's the only count that doesn't consider إِنَّهُمْ يَكِيدُونَ كَيْدًا as a singular ayah. Their count is إِنَّهُمْ يَكِيدُونَ كَيْدًا وَأَكِيدُ كَيْدًا. Now that's an ayah, and they put the 15 mark symbol. So now, with a high degree of accuracy of guessing, this was definitely ascribed by a scribe counting by the Add al-Madani al-Awwal, which places it in Medina, or by some scholar that counts by Madani. So yes, it was probably ascribed by either in Medina or a scholar who learned the Madani count. Wallahu a'lam. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to go. Anyway, so much information can be gleaned from just looking and paying attention to details. And this is the stuff that that catches my eye. Imagine like a scholar in this knowledge and how much information they can get out of this information.